There it is. Says we're live. We can do this thing. Folks, welcome to the Ask Me Anything call. Me and Will or Emily will be right back. Dude, I just got to tell you right now, I dove into one of my own projects this week. And this is so interesting. Like, I just want to give you a perspective thing. And this is kind of cool as people come into this that are thinking about Lifter LMS or thinking about what we do, have questions, all that. We're here to take your questions. You can put the questions in the comment section. We will definitely get to you. But in my own project this week, I made a sale. Yay, I made a sale. So, but what I have to do is I need to quasi white label some of my existing courses, co-brand with this other company. Dude, I told them I would do it, and in my mind, I'm like, oh, I got to put aside half a day. Like I don't know what I did in my mind, but I made it more difficult than it was. I literally signed into the site, went to the courses menu, and I was like, clone, 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 and then I went edit, added their name, save, edit, added their name, save. I mean, dude, this took like 8 minutes, and all six courses are co-branded. The company's going to send me a their style guide with their icon and their colors. And literally, I'm like, I'm just going to put that into a Lifter LMS group. I'm going to put their cover image as a picture of their company office. The profile picture is going to be their logo, and they're going to invite their students. Their students are going to take the invite link. Boom, they're going to be auto-enrolled into a co-branded list of 6 courses, and it's done.
Nice.
I don't want to oversimplify things. I don't want to make people think that this is crazy, but you know, we do this all the time, Will. You and I, we build these things. We have people ask us these they're not crazy questions, but they're involved questions, right? I'm building an LMS for my first time, and I want it to do this and that and fly me around the moon and take me to Disneyland and all these things. And we answer the questions, and I don't mind answering the questions. I got to be super clear. I don't mind answering the questions. But when we use the product, the way it comes out of the box, and we just tell a client we can do something, and 8 minutes later it's done, dude, I couldn't be happier. That's my rant. I'm done.
Totally. That's awesome. Congratulations. And that feels good when you already have your curriculum designed and people will sign up and buy it. All you have to do is use Lifter LMS white labeling solutions, get it over. That's awesome.
Big shout out to Gary. Gary looks like he is coming to us from Winnipeg, Canada. Gary, I did see your message come through in our support as well. I appreciate you checking back with us and letting you know what's going on there. Alan, welcome to the call. It's good to have you on as well. And it looks like we've got Terry, who is also calling in from Canada. Are you guys having like a meeting in a conference room and just hitting us up from the same room, or what's going on there? Terry, welcome to the call. Do we even say it? Do I even say it, Will? Do I even say it? I had a driver's license from Ontario, Canada for a while.
Yeah.
All right. Canada's a very friendly place. I like Canada. I love Canada, in fact. Now, driving along with my friend in Port Perry in Ontario, and him looking at me with a straight face and saying, in the winter, we don't even use these roads, eh? We just use snow machines. That was a little more than I wanted to take in. Like, I still want to be able to drive my car. I don't want to be locked in and have to have a friend with a snow machine to get my bag of milk. Did you know that's how they sold milk in Canada?
I did not know that.
Yeah, that really freaked me out too, Will. I showed up to get milk, and we went through a drive-through, and they handed me plastic bags full of milk. It was a pretty weird thing for me.
Yeah, that feels a little strange for me too. But check this out. I wore this to Walmart yesterday. This is like old merch. This is like the Lifter LMS fanny pack.
Yeah.
I forgot I had this, and so I wore it to Walmart yesterday. Super effective. We should sell these.
Now, let's dive into some of the work that we got. We greeted the folks that gave us the comments so far. Just want to throw this out there. Send us more comments. If you're online, you got a question, pop it in there. We'll do our best to do it. Folks that accepted the email invitation to attend had the ability to put in questions before they came. Terry did this, and I believe it's the same Terry that's already in comments right now. But it says, we're a truck and bus driver training company. Today, we've been using spreadsheets to track students and have no real LMS or CMS. Terry, you're not alone. Dude, I've done a lot of corporate work. I was a corporate training manager before coming to the Lifter LMS team. And the amount of major corporations that are still trying to operate on spreadsheets and emails is dumbfounding to me, okay? Because this really does clear things up. It says, as I'm familiar with Groundhog, another Canadian company, right? So as I'm familiar with Groundhog, and you know, and you have a relationship with them, could you suggest an integrated solution for us to be able to handle inquiries, enroll students, track payments, track government grants for students, and basic email response marketing? Student scheduling for class and in-vehicle training would be a bonus. Terry, I want to put you at ease, and I'm going to jump right through some things. And so, folks, Terry's situation is not isolated. There's a lot of folks that watch this or see the replay that have the same types of questions. First off, let's talk about what Groundhog is. Groundhog, spelled with 2 G's, groundhog.io, is a CRM tool that you can embed in the back of your WordPress website. Now, what's really interesting about this is part of the question here is, could you suggest an integrated solution to be able to handle inquiries and enroll students and all those things? Groundhog is the integrated solution. Groundhog has a direct integration with Lifter LMS. And Lifter LMS, I'm going to turn the words off because you know what? It's just too distracting. It's too many words. Lifter LMS handles the membership management and the content management for your learning material. So people can sign up, they can pay. You can have a payment gateway with one of our add-ons in Lifter LMS. So as far as having an e-commerce design, membership management, and learning content management, all of that's handled by Lifter LMS. And when you integrate Groundhog into your site that has an integration with Lifter LMS, you get a lot of automation tools that automatically come with that integration. For instance, you could have a lead magnet on your page or on your site that is a page that says, hey, sign up and take this free course. And you could have a free mini course on your site. They put in their name, they put in their email, they click submit. That submission can go through Groundhog, add them to your contacts list, tag them as a lead, right, from your lead magnet, and automatically enroll them into that course, right? And so then they can take that free micro course, but now you've got them in your contact database in Groundhog as a lead. That lead can trigger an email sequence that sends out a timed email sequence to, did you enjoy the course? Did you like this? Did you like that? And there's triggers in the system that can be like, when they finish a lesson, when they finish a course, send this message. So there's a ton of things that you can do. So when you mention Groundhog and you mention Lifter LMS in the same question, and you're like, what are the possibilities that we can do with these platforms? Any bundled purchase with Lifter LMS to give you that payment gateway option for the e-commerce side, and the integration with Groundhog is going to open up a bevy of opportunity for you. And so what I would encourage, Terry, if you've got the time, if you've got the ability, jump into the Lifter LMS page, lifterlms.com, click on the Academy link, and you'll see that we've just got a ton of courses that you can take. Those are great orientation tutorial videos. We've even got one from Groundhog in our system. But if you go to Groundhog, you'll also see they have an academy that's built on Lifter LMS, surprise, surprise. And that you'll even see Mr. Middleton there. And that will, he's got a couple of courses in there for Groundhog that show some of the intricacies of using Groundhog with Lifter LMS. I hope that's a good way to put that out there. Did that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I think integrating CRM is always a big question. It's nice to use tools that specifically integrate with each other. So Groundhog and Lifter is a good one. Like, yeah, the integrations are there.
Gary threw up a question, and it's not a dumb question, Gary. This is a totally acceptable question. For aircraft, do you need to buy one copy per site? Right out of the chute, if you have the Universe bundle and it comes with SkyPilot, now I'm confused. Did I just mess myself up, Will? Does SkyPilot come with Universe?
Aircraft does come with Universe, and so does SkyPilot.
And so does SkyPilot. So I want to make sure everything came. So that's a 5-site license right there. So right out of the chute, that's a 5-site license. If you buy it by itself as an add-on, it's a 1-site gig. If you had the Infinity bundle, that's unlimited sites. You can put Lifter LMS and any of its products on unlimited sites. What's interesting is some people will say, well, I only have 1 or 2 projects. I don't need unlimited sites. The Infinity bundle gives you the ability to have unlimited sites, but I don't think that's the real draw. I think the real draw to Infinity is access to all of the advanced add-ons. Even as we design more, you're grandfathered in. You just keep getting access to the newest stuff. All the updates. We call it priority support, but that means you get direct support tickets, and you upload a system report, which was part of our last Featured Friday thing. And the other thing is you get access to the office hours call. And that to me that's the price of admission, right? So if you opt for the Infinity bundle and you get the priority support, access to office hours, and access to all of the add-ons that you can put on as many different websites as you want, that to me is the real kicker for that. So yeah, Aircraft, buy it by itself. It's a single site license. Put it in with Universe. It's a 5-site license. Put it in with Infinity. It's an unlimited site license. I hope that makes more sense.
Yeah, for sure. I love the Aircraft thing. And when we say a site license, it comes with the 1 active site and 1 staging site. So if you're creating a staging copy of your website, 1 license can be used for 1 live site and 1 staging site. And a staging site simply just doesn't accept recurring payments, and it has that little orange staging button next to the orders that people may have seen. But, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Alexa had a comment that she sent in, right? It is a she, right? So she's got a 2-part question. Congratulations to Alexa for doing it both ways. I see you in our spreadsheet of submissions prior coming to the meeting, but I also saw that you put it in comments. So thanks for double checking your stuff there. First part of the question. I use your groups add-on and I accidentally trashed one of the groups. Ruh-roh. I went in the trash and restored it, but it came back as a draft and I don't seem to have the option to republish it. How can I make it active again? Can we do a screen share and duplicate that process to see if that makes sense?
Yeah, let's see. So I've got my screen here.
I'd hate to say go the other route, right? And like what's the last time your site was updated and restore it? So hopefully we can do this simply.
Yeah, this is interesting. I haven't played with this before. So here's your draft. That's a good point. I don't know if I've taken these out of the trash before.
Yeah, I've never trashed one and restored one. I just made an assumption that it's a thing.
Yeah. Oh, I see. So host type equals group. I'm looking at the URL. Yeah, this is interesting. So off the top of my head, I'm not sure what you would do about that. I know in the database I could fix this by just changing the post status in the SQL database. So if you have a web host that allows you to access a PHP MyAdmin area or something like that, it would be possible to change it there. That's a good point. I don't think I've ever done this before, and I do also appear to be stuck. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think I'm just stuck. Like, I would go into the database and just swap it to published. I could come up with like how exactly you would do that, but that's an important feature. I'd recommend logging that over to support and seeing if they have a solution. I mean, my solution is just like go to ChatGPT, and then this is like I don't know. Don't have ChatGPT code a lot for you, but if you go there and you're like, oh hey, I would like a plugin snippet that gives me an admin button on the dashboard where I type a ID of a Lifter LMS group and then it just publishes it from draft status to published status, that would work too. But that's a workaround. You shouldn't have to do that, but I haven't run into this situation before.
Yeah, Gary had an interesting point. He said, is it possible to edit the group and then save it as public?
Well, when you edit the group, you don't actually have a back-end editor. It's all in the front end because it's fancy. And so
Yeah,
there's...
Oh, I'm talking over you, but if we go into settings, let's try it. Go into settings.
Well, so the settings page doesn't work because the permalink doesn't do it. Like if you look at the URL of my site, it's as a post type group, and then it gives me a post ID because it's a draft. And it does, with the permalink structure, it doesn't actually let me go to settings.
All right. Well, it looks like that one's going to go off to support. And Alexa, I'm super grateful you brought that to our attention. That's something that me and Will can follow up on at a later date and see how support handles your ticket. But Gary did. I was glad that Gary jumped in to try and help as well. That's awesome. All right. So she's got another question. So 2, I have a staging website and I was under the impression these weren't active and couldn't charge my clients. Ruh-roh, I know where this is going. I've had it in for a few months now and never had a problem, but about a month ago, it suddenly started charging my clients on top of the active site's usually charges. So needless to say, my students were pretty peeved and I had to issue many refunds. In my panic, I completely deleted my staging site to avoid future charges. Is it safe to restore my staging site, website, or no? A couple of things happen with staging sites, Alexa. Remember that your payment gateway in your staging site, if your staging site is active, or like, when you'll say you have a staging site and Lifter LMS puts up a notification, it'll say, it appears that you have a staging instance of this website. Do you want to activate your manual payment gateway or something like that? A lot of people, to get rid of that notification, will click yes. And then when that happens, your site has the ability to operate as if it's a real website because your payment gateways are active. Am I making this make sense, Will? I'm trying to say this in a weird way.
Yeah, I'm doing custom code in the background on the first question. Now I'm distracted.
So I have seen it in the past where people have had their website as staging in a staging state, and you go, okay, everything should be fine. But remember that in a staging state, your payment gateways can be active in the background. So what I normally do is I go into the Lifter LMS settings. I go to the checkouts, right? I go to my Stripe, I go to my PayPal, I go to those, and I turn those into test mode. I just turn those off. And then that is just kind of reassurance that I'm not going to have that problem going forward. I think it's horribly important to have, if you're doing development, changing themes, changing site structure, menus, changing anything that has to do with the student journey through the website, you're adding features. I think it's really important to have a staging website, but it's also important to disable the payment gateways and make sure that you're not duplicating things. Remember that your API codes and stuff like that you've put in your payment gateways, those connect, they can still be active. And even though, just because your staging website's on like a fictitious URL, it's still connected to the internet and things can still happen. So make sure you disable your payment gateways, and then you shouldn't have any problems. And you can go into test mode, or you can just disable the payment gateway. You could go in and actually, disable it altogether.
Yeah, and I can show that. That's kind of what I was talking about a minute ago. I'm just ignore this for a minute. The staging mode, did they say it, or it's in status? Did they say it was on staging? Like where you go to tools and utilities, and then I can do automatic payment status, and then where is the automatic payment status notification? Tools and utilities.
I think it comes up on the regular dashboard. There's like a notification that I see pop up for clients.
Yeah.
And you might have it turned off because you got a bunch of your notifications turned off in your view, your back end view.
I do. Yeah, this is strange. I'm going to test this on a local site because, like, usually you click Tools and Utilities, reset the automatic payment status, and it says, hey, do you want to have your site in staging or in live mode? But it's not working right now. I don't know. Weird stuff going on. I'm going to test this on my local computer too.
Yeah, and Will and I are working in demo sites, and so sometimes our functionality is not identical to what you see in your site.
Should be.
Yeah, and Alexa follows up and says, I'm thinking someone probably wasn't paying attention and enabled that payment gateway to get rid of the notification. And she says that, probably right. But I noticed that people can do kind of odd things in staging sites, and they get notifications as if it's a live website. And sometimes they click something to make it go away, and that causes something to happen. The main thing for me is I always want to try and protect my students, my clients, my customers. And so I'll go into even though there's that switch that Emily's showing you, you can go in and each payment gateway you can actually disable. So you can really make sure that you're not doing anything strange. Now, something I forgot to put in at the beginning of the call, Emily, I'm struggling. I'm just going to admit I'm struggling. We can go here and you can get your 55% off Lifter LMS coupon by going to lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. And I meant to put that up at the beginning of the call, but I got right into the problems. I was so excited to see everybody jumping into the comments right away. And I was like, well, that was pretty awesome. All right. And let's see if we're missing any questions in chat real quick. It's cool to see the chat active and working, man. I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah, got a good attendance.
Gary put up, hey, we're only 900 miles apart. How many is that in kilometers? Is that like 1,400 kilometers? The cool part about driving in Canada is like you can be going 130. Oh, that's just me being me. I like that. All right. This question, I didn't know what this meant. So I'm going to copy this and put this into the comments for us, Will. But you got to tell me if this makes any sense to you. I'm going to say just question. Question from form. There we go. Question from the form. Form. It makes me think that they're from just a different country than English being the first language thing. So maybe you'll get it more than I will. It says, I want to know when I'm going to get a stipend or this learnership doesn't pay a stipend.
Maybe that's a sponsorship program.
Okay.
Sum of money paid, regular time services for expenses. I mean, a stipend is not the right word, or it could be an affiliate commission or a scholarship. Not sure. We could talk about both affiliates and scholarships. So Lifter LMS does have an affiliate program run through ShareASale. If you want to refer Lifter LMS to other people, you can do that. It's run through ShareASale, an affiliate platform. So you have to sign up on ShareASale. You'll find Lifter LMS in there, and then you can fill out an application to the Lifter program. That pays out all through ShareASale automatically. I think the threshold to get paid out is like $200 or something. Then if you want to do affiliates with Lifter LMS, because I don't understand the nature of the question, then you have a few options. You have Affiliate WP, which has been the option for years. And then you have Siren, which is a new option from Alex Standiford, who did a lot of work on Affiliate WP. So there's now 2 affiliate solutions in the space that are pretty good. There's also probably like WP Affiliates is one I've heard of. There's a few affiliate solutions for Lifter LMS in the space. I'm really not sure if that's a question being asked here, but and if you were talking about a scholarship from Lifter LMS, we do have a scholarship program where for like a greater discount on your first year. I think it's like 50% discount. So the AMA gift coupon that Kurt put in chat's a better discount than the scholarship, I think. So That's answered all 3 questions.
Yeah, you kind of handled that. I read it and I was like, I was thinking, are they taking the academy and looking to get paid for time spent taking the academy? I mean, I wasn't sure what the question was. So the next question comes from Brian. Brian wants to know, is there a limit to how many custom fields we can use with the custom fields add-on? For instance, I have 20 to 30 text fields. This is interesting, Brian, because our documentation didn't specifically call out any limitations. And in one of these calls, and I'm going to say it was probably 3-4 months ago, Emily was jumping into a screen share and just started nailing the screen with all kinds of added fields. And I want to say we got up to 20 or 25 of them, and you were like, I don't think there's any limits. We didn't see anything in the system that would create a limit. I know that I've used other third-party plugins, such as like, what is it called? Super Profile Tool or something like that. I can't remember, Profile Pro. And that added like a ton of fields in the profile for the user. Remember that when you add a custom field to one of the forms in Lifter LMS, you're also adding that field to the profile for the user, right? And so I didn't see any limitations for that. So I would say Terry's leaving. Terry's got to run. And there must be a whole different time span up there in Canada. All right. But anyway, back to Brian. There was nothing that came through for me and Emily that showed that there was any kind of limitation whatsoever with the custom fields add-on through Lifter LMS as an advanced add-on. So I would encourage you to jump in, use it. Remember, we have a 30-day money-back guarantee anywho. So if you try it and for some reason are disappointed with it, they can get you a refund on it no matter what. So you can go help@lifterlms.com, request a refund within 30 days, no questions asked, and you're out of the obligation anywho. But awesome. That's a good question. And like I said, it's not in the documentation. I don't know of any limits put on it. But I didn't want to speak for developers in case they said there was a limit of 100, right? And then I missed that. But we've on this call through Screen Share have demonstrated that you can just start pounding that thing with all kinds of custom fields, and it seems to take it. Are you laughing at me? Did I say something weird?
You're phrasing. I'm in the background looking at Alexa's answer, and I'm
old, man. I'm old.
I know. I'm like, but that's all good.
See, you Gen Z people. No, you're not even Gen Z, are you? Are you Gen Z?
I'm Gen Z.
Mine's always in the gutter.
Okay, well, I'm in the background actually testing the Lifter LMS Group's publish thing to see if I can show Alexa how to do that in the database. You didn't have to do this, but like I could probably show you how to publish the group you have. Just in the background, I'm working on that. There's a good question for you while I do that.
I did see that SCORM question come in. How close are you to doing a screen share on the first question?
Like 5 minutes, so not close.
Okay, so that's cool. Let's This one's interesting. Does Lifter LMS lock the grade a student gets so it cannot be changed by anyone? If it is locked, can an administrator add an addendum reflecting a changed grade and the note? God bless you, Will.
Thank you. Lock the grade so it can't be changed by anyone. I mean, you can go into the database and change anything you want, but
yeah. So that's why I was confused. I'm like, I can change anything through the database, but I also thought that administrators could modify grades.
I don't think they can. I can demo this. We could check it out. I'm on my local site. Maybe I should go to my demo set over here that has grade data. So if I go to reporting, I'm an admin of the site. So this person, Cade, has some grades. Let's see. So grade is 88%. This is like a quiz, right? With a 66% grade. I can't change this. The quiz attempt. I can, if we're using like a manual grading tool, like Lifter LMS advanced quizzes or assignments, the instructor determines the grade, but they can't change it later. Yeah, that's like if I go into here for this quiz, I don't think I can like swap this. I can delete the attempt or start a review, but I can't change, like, this one was wrong and I can't change that. So I'm kind of stuck. I can delete the attempt and say, hey, you didn't get a good enough grade, go ahead and try it again. But without going into the database, there's not a way to do that.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, if you could make a change in the database, there wouldn't be anywhere to put any notes as to why there was a change or anything like that either. So,
right.
So that's kind of interesting too, right? But let's jump in while you're getting ready for that screen share. And just to note, we do pay attention to the time. It is halfway through the hour, and we do this for an hour. So we've got about 29 minutes left. But it says here, I need to know, I know I need to use SCORM if I want Lifter to track the interactive activities I created with Genially. I've never used Genially, but I'm not too sure how it works or what I need to make that happen for context. Okay, typically, again, I've never used Genially, so I need to be kind of more generic in my response. I've used a lot of Articulate and Captivate product. So depending on how you export your SCORM package, if you have quizzes or statements, triggers that are built into your SCORM package, and you want that to report to reporting, what you need to have is an LRS tool, a learning record store. So if you're using something like GrassBlade allows the SCORM content to play in your site, but it doesn't really sync with reporting, right? So what that does is if you have SCORM content and your quizzing, your knowledge checks are outside of the SCORM content, that's a beautiful world, because you're able to play the SCORM content and then you're able to add a Lifter LMS advanced quiz afterwards to take the knowledge check, and the knowledge check through Lifter goes directly to the reporting. And if you use the Mark Complete button with your SCORM content, that means without having to have an LRS, you're able to track your completions and you're able to track your knowledge check, and it all stays natively in Lifter, which works out really, really well. However, if your quizzes, if your knowledge checks and your other statements or activities are in the SCORM package that you need the reporting on, then you need what's called a learning record store. And GrassBlade has a learning record store, but there's others you can choose from as well. You subscribe to the learning record store. It uses an API key. And as the SCORM package is being played by the student, the statements and activities are being recorded by the learning record store through the API. Once the student completes the SCORM package and they refresh the page or go to another page, that LRS syncs that information to the Lifter LMS reporting. So you can still see the reporting, the quiz scores and stuff like that in Lifter LMS in the reporting. If there are statements and activities that are not part of Lifter LMS's reporting and you need to see that reporting for some reason, for instance, time spent on the screen or buttons clicked during the actual SCORM course, the LRS would have that reporting available to you. So you would go to that third-party LRS and you could see that reporting there and you could export that reporting. Another thing that you could do, depending on your use case and your needs and how big your project is you could have your reporting in Lifter LMS custom developed to bring in those extra reporting fields. So you could expand the Lifter LMS reporting and have it sync with the LRS if that matches your use case. So that way everything gets reported in the Lifter LMS and gets exported as part of that reporting process as well, if that's something that you want to do. So she says, great, that's much clearer. I'll start looking into the LRS. Now, I don't want to get people too excited about the SCORM stuff, but I'm working with a new third-party vendor provider who's working on an integration with Lifter LMS. It is not ready yet, but this is a very specific use case, and it's kind of cool. If you're someone that has SCORM content and you want to use your WordPress website to get people to that SCORM content, but you don't really care that it plays in the site, there's an integration that's coming that allows you to use SCORM Cloud to integrate with your WordPress website. But what's really interesting about it is it helps you with a distribution model, which is something I'm really excited about. So a lot of times we hear from people, if I put my SCORM content in my WordPress website, how do I share that content with other websites? Like I hear that question come up from people in an enterprise or corporate space. And there's really no way to do that unless everybody has a WordPress website and blah, 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 right? But what we can do is we can develop this. Again, a third party's doing it. Lifter LMS is not doing this. It's a third party working with us on an integration that will allow you to manage your SCORM content through your Lifter LMS website, but host it on scormcloud.com, which gives us distribution ability to spread to other websites. So that's a pretty cool deal that's working on right now. And that's a pretty cool deal. All right. Will, how you doing? How's lunch? You're muted.
Oh my God. Okay. Lunch was great.
Oh my God.
Chicken pesto cavatappi is really good. I did figure out also in the database how we can do this. So this is with Alexa's question about, my group was thrown in the trash and then I restored it. So I have my new group. I'm putting it in the trash. It takes a long time. Okay, now it's in the trash. And then I try to restore it. It restores as a draft. You can't fix it from here. So let me close this. Okay, so now I have my groups and I have one that is just a draft. There it is. I should zoom in a little bit. There we go. So my draft, I can't actually work with this. So I'm going to need to go to the database. For me, the database is with this adminer tool, but that's because I'm using a local database. If you're using if you let us know what hosting company you're using in the chat, we could tell you what it is, but you probably know it's like PHPMyAdmin or whatever, and it's accessed through your web hosting platform. We're going to go to the WP post table. We're going to look at the data for the table, and we'll find my group. This is my group right here, this new group, and you can see status is draft. So let's go ahead and edit this and say status is publish, and then save that. Now if I reload back in my WordPress, it's published now. So that's how you would do that. You shouldn't have to do that, right? It should be in the user experience, like you said, but that's a way you can go into the database and do that.
So I'd say that's probably a fix we'll see later, but that's your workaround for today.
And Elementor
without having to rebuild your group. Elementor is your hosting. Ooh, I don't see that one too often, Will.
I don't either. The Elementor Cloud, access the database of your Element. I'm on the help docs now. Let's see. How does Elementor recommend you access the database? If they give you access, let's pull up my screen.
They're going to be like, nope.
It just says no, like the Elementor, nope, no thanks. So you have manage website, advanced. So here you go. So you have PHPMyAdmin through the Elementor hosting, and so your WP post table. I can't zoom in on this computer. That didn't zoom in. That just moved it. There we go. So okay, you're gonna look at the UI. I like my trackpad where I can zoom easily. Yeah. So this is your post table. Just find the post table, locate your group within the post table, and then change status to publish. It's not super hard, but you just have to know how to get into that area.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is about accessing PHPMyAdmin. For some folks, it is just it's like going on a hike and coming up to a stream that's running, and you see like a row of rocks to walk across, but for some reason you're scared to death to step across the rocks, right? Like there's just anxiety for some folks to go into PHPMyAdmin. In most cases, you're not going to break anything beyond recognition, and your host more than likely has a 24-hour update for you anyway, or backup.
Yeah, I would recommend, I've broken things in there. So the post meta table is scary, or the user meta table, because those are that's meta information on other pieces of information. So I've done big bulk updates and broken things and stuff, but always do a backup. But in this case, you're just changing draft to publish. That's not super big. You don't have to back that up.
Yeah, and then Alexa put in a comment like, I understand why people don't use Elementor. I don't want to put that one on the screen, Alexa. I have no opinion whatsoever. And, Elementor integrates with us and all that kind of stuff. I've never used. I have no firsthand knowledge about hosting with them. I just don't see it that often.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just doing an Elementor site, you're looking to do like a front of page thing. But if you're trying to host SCORM and you're trying to use LMS, they probably work with WooCommerce okay. But like, you'll run into some of the limitations when you're doing really advanced things on a hosting that was designed for a relatively simple instance.
Yeah, it's so hard to say things without sounding like a pompous jerk sometimes. But like, I was on Bluehost for the longest time, Will. I really was. It was like 16 years I was on Bluehost stuff. But then when I started working on dynamic websites, so there's brochure websites that are static, and then there's dynamic websites where, information changes based on user login and all that stuff. And those are e-commerce, learning management systems, membership websites. So like Buddy Boss, Lifter LMS, throw the other WordPress LMSs in there if you like for the conversation. All of those take up, bandwidth. All of those take up a lot of memory resources. And a lot of companies that are great at hosting brochure style websites cache the living crud out of the websites to get them to perform well. And a dynamic website, by the nature of what it is, begins to have errors and issues if it's overly cached. And so you need to be strategic about how you use caching in your website. And sometimes that education on caching is more troublesome and painful than just upgrading your hosting.
Yeah, and a lot of times those hosts that are interested in static websites primarily are not even going to give you control over these optimizations. Or even if you contact support and they change server settings for you to like say, don't cache these pages, or use a certain protocol in order to load certain pages so that you're not using the optimization techniques. They optimize it, like Kurt said, to make it fast and to make it cheap. But if you can even request them to turn those off, and they will, but then they'll move your server once every 2 weeks, and now all the settings are gone, and you didn't even know because your site's still up, but everything breaks again. And that's why things can just randomly break sometimes. So it's nice to have a website host that dedicates to like LMS, where it's like, yes, we do have LMS sites hosted here, and they do perform well with a lot of users. That's a good conversation to have with them.
And then in the comments right now, I just put the link to our new SCORM course because I don't think a lot of people recognize that we have a SCORM course. So this might be something you might want to check out, Alexa. We've got a whole tutorial on how we set up GrassBlade and GrassBlade LRS to work with a SCORM example. And then when that third party comes out with its different methodology, we'll probably make an addendum or a bonus section to that course. So we may do that. All right. And then, yeah, sure enough, right? I had no idea you had this course. Yeah, it's just to be blunt and super transparent, we used to get like one question a month about SCORM only a couple of years ago. In fact, in different learning circles, when I mentioned that I worked in WordPress, all these SCORM professionals poo-pooed me. They were like, WordPress? No, I have a custom-built learning management system. And I thought, yeah, that's exactly why I'm on WordPress, because the people I worked with paid $500,000 for a website that looks like crap and doesn't perform. And so I would have these conversations, but it seemed to fall on deaf ears only a few years ago. Now, Will, and I don't think I'm exaggerating, 5 or 6 SCORM specific questions come through support every week now. And so because of that increased interest in putting SCORM into WordPress, we have this course that we put out, I think last month or the month before. And you know what? Just to cover the bases, I go a little bit differently on the communication on the Mañana No Mas site on the same subject. So there's always a wealth of knowledge in the area. And it looks like Chris joined the call. Look at that. There's Chris Lassiter. Watch the SCORM course. I was looking at GrassBlade and they had 2 options. Was it the $99 a year or month that you use? $99 for the year gets the single site That's the thing I don't like about Grassblade is it's a single site license. They only offer the single site license. I, of course, would prefer an agency license. Like I would pay $500 for an agency license to be able to put on as many sites as I want, right? Like that to me would be a great answer, but it's $100 per site. And then the LRS is a different product altogether, Chris. So Grassblade to play the SCORM content is the $99 a year. And then I think it's $199 for the year for the Grassblade LRS, I believe. I may be wrong. Double check me. You can go into look up Grassblade. It's through what's the name of the company? Will you remember? Next Gen, something like that.
Yeah, Next Software Solutions.
Yeah, Next Software Solutions. But it's a really straightforward, one of the easier integrations to get Lifter LMS to work. There's a bunch out there. There's eLearning Freaks, I think, is another one that people have recommended. But just to be honest with you, I tried eLearning Freaks, and it didn't get me the results that I was truly looking for, and I ended up going back to Grassblade. Just being honest. Here he goes. What's the benefit of using SCORM? This has turned into a SCORM clinic. And don't worry, Gary, I do see your question. I'll come back to you here in just a heartbeat, so don't leave the call. What is the benefit of using SCORM? One of the benefits, Chris, from a corporate standpoint, is corporations that have invested in making SCORM content have invested a lot of money in making SCORM content. The SCORM authoring software, for example, Articulate 360, last I checked, it was like $3,000 per user per year. So I used to run the training department at Suzuki with 6 users on the platform. So we're already at $18,000 before we even make anything, right? And that's for the year. When we made the course on the DF350A, which was the outboard motor that Suzuki put out, it was like 300 hours that I paid the instructional designer to make the course. And so when you think of someone gets paid $120,000 a year or whatever that is to be an instructional designer, and 300 hours is roughly, like 20% of a salary, you start to think, oh my goodness, that's another 25, 30 grand in labor. Then we had to think about the assets, the photography, the animations, because we made animations, all these things. So when you say, what's the benefit of using SCORM? First off, I'm going to be blunt and say, I really don't see an actual benefit today from making a course in SCORM. But a lot of companies have pre-existing legacy content made in SCORM where each of those courses cost them $50, $60, $80, $100,000 to make. So if you're a company that's got 100 courses and you spend 100 grand on each of those courses making them, grand scheme from engineering all the way down to instructional design, you don't want to hit a delete button and make that stuff go away, right? You also probably don't want to keep paying $120,000, $150,000 a year for hosting on a site that costs you $500,000 to host the stuff that's already overpriced. So a lot of folks are coming to the WordPress market with a giant library of pre-made SCORM content that they don't want to delete. They've already made a huge investment in, and they have to find an economical way to play it. And WordPress is a great place to put that. Now, moving forward, people that like SCORM, and I'll make this quick, people that like SCORM, they like it because they can play multiple lessons all in one screen. So SCORM has the ability to play training. Like we're used to using the course builder in Lifter LMS, might have 10 lessons. In SCORM, I could put all 10 lessons as chapters into my SCORM package, and it'll all play on one screen. And then when I put that SCORM in my website, I have more control over how it displays. It can come up in its own pop-up light box and play all 10 of those lessons in that section. If I close the package and reopen it, it'll start where I left off, so I don't have to worry about starting over again. I can have it show up in a whole tab, and I can also embed it into a page surrounded by other content. So you get a lot of that. And it can put in different animations, videos, ask questions, be more interactive, and it can do a lot of things that we can't really do like in a WordPress website standard environment. So there are a lot of benefits that come with SCORM. However, H5P is an open source platform where you could build those same types of interactivities and embed H5P into your WordPress website and get it to work without all of those expenses. So there's a lot of ways to go. But when you say, what are the benefits of using SCORM? For me, the biggest benefit is not having to throw away all my legacy material and have a reasonably reliable place to put it and still get my student reporting. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
And I want to get back to Gary before we run out of time. Do you want to take this one, Will, or do you want me to?
Sure. So currently I license the PayPal add-on. I see the Earth bundle's the same price. Any drawbacks? How do I switch? Is it a good idea to use both PayPal and Stripe, or does that confuse people? Let me take a look at the Lifter LMS pricing page real quick, just to clear some of the pricing questions up. So if I share my screen here, go all the way back to the top. So Earth bundle. So the Earth bundle is normally $299 a year, so $300 a year. But then your first year is discounted to $150. It says $150 or $149 per year, but that's not what it's $149 for the first year, then $300 for the second year. It goes up to this price. And so knowing that, you could switch to the Earth bundle, getting access to both PayPal and Stripe. I like putting both PayPal and Stripe on the same website to give your students as many options to pay as possible. Usually I just put Stripe up. I'm only in Stripe, but that's because my audience always has credit cards. So it's not a limiting factor. It's not stopping people from buying my program. So I go with Stripe, but PayPal is more accessible to more of the world. So because there's more payment options you can connect to it. So if you are in a position where PayPal will make it more accessible for your market to purchase the product, then I would run both. But yeah, so the same price, so the Stripe or PayPal add-on are $150 a year, but then the Earth bundle's $300, but you get a 50% discount for the first year. You can even use the 55% coupon to get a bigger discount. But how would you switch? Contact team@lifterlms.com or help@lifterlms.com. Either one, they'll forward you to the right place, and they'll get you to the billing team who can help you switch that over if you're interested in that. What they'll do is they'll probably give you a proration for what you've already paid. So if you're like 6 months into your 150 subscription, they'll send you like a $75 coupon. In addition, you could use the 55% coupon. So just email help@lifterlms and they will help you, or team, and they'll connect you with the right path there.
And we've got a couple of more minutes here, so I want to go a little deeper on the detail for you, Gary, and just on personal preference and experience. PayPal has a thing called reference transactions that have to be enabled in order to do subscriptions. So, and you don't always qualify for the reference transactions. I did business with PayPal for decades, and literally decades. And I noticed that my recurring payments weren't working. And I was like, okay, that's weird. So, and I'm a help myself kind of guy. So I did a ton of research and I found out, I need this thing called reference transactions. So I got in touch with PayPal and I filled out this form and it said, what kind of revenue are you going to bring in? And it wasn't about me spending any money. It was only about me bringing in money. And then I still got denied for the reference transactions. So then I was like, so then I went to Stripe and I filled out the form. I joined Stripe and it was instant. You want a recurring payment? Boom, done. And I was like, well, that's easy. But here's what I ended up missing. So it's always the scales, right? Like the scales of justice. Even though Stripe, after some time and some maneuvering, can give you the ability to take payments from clients on bigger ticket items, a lot of people prefer to use that PayPal credit thing. So if you have PayPal on your website and you have something that's more than $1,000, you actually might make more sales if you have PayPal enabled and they can use their PayPal credit, right? And so I found that to be one of those obvious advantages of having PayPal. But if it was for a subscription at like $40 a month, it was much easier to stick with Stripe. Now, enabling both on your website, that is a great option because you're giving people the ability to use that PayPal credit thing. But unless I had high ticket items, I would probably stick with just Stripe.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a new, I'm just going to say it. We talked about it like a year ago. It's like There's a new PayPal thing that we wanted to get approved so that you wouldn't need the reference transactions and all those things. But I don't think that's ever gone through. It just seems to have hit a brick wall over at PayPal. So I don't know if they're like remaking the world, trying to get the world to spin counterclockwise instead of clockwise, or what's happening at PayPal. But as it is now, our payment gateway through PayPal requires reference transactions for recurring payments. And if you need reference transactions, get those in line before you activate the PayPal. If you get it through PayPal, awesome. If you don't get it through PayPal, I'd probably stick with Stripe.
Totally.
Oh, and there he says, good info, Kurt. I hope that helps. I try to be as transparent and blunt with folks, because if you read the knowledge documents, you'll go, oh, that makes sense. I'm going to activate that. And then you'll spend the next 3 days trying to figure out why it didn't work. And it's because that third party isn't activating stuff in the back end that we need to have work. All right. And I don't want to talk smack about PayPal. I mean, obviously, people have successfully done business with them for years and years, but sometimes there is a thing. And Gary says his PayPal is working right now. So perfect. Yeah, you could do PayPal and Stripe, and if you run them both together, people make the choice in the checkout process whether they want to use Stripe and put in their credit card or use their PayPal account, and you might increase your sales. It might be worth having both. And then Chris Lassiter asked if Lifter LMS can make a H5P lesson. We did a blog post on H5P. So we did a blog post and a short video on using H5P. But I would agree with you, Chris. I think we'll probably follow up and make a full-blown course like what we did with SCORM, because H5P, I use it for interactive video, right? But H5P is more than interactive video. H5P could be flashcards, could be animations, could be, typing like a typewriter. I mean, it can be all kinds of cool things. And so each feature that you use, for people that aren't familiar, you add H5P, you activate H5P, and then whenever you go to use H5P in your website, it's going to say, what feature do you want to use? And then you have to download that feature off of a drop-down menu to get it to work, right? And so I typically use interactive video, and then you can embed that interactive video anywhere within your website. But there's a ton of other features. And so I can see your point, Chris. I think coming out with a course that kind of goes through maybe the top 10 features or the top 15 features of H5P for use in a learning website, I think that would be a really cool feature to do. All right. So, Alexi said something here. I didn't see it. Tried to access through Elementor domain, but it doesn't look like I can. Log it to get it fixed. All right. Sounds perfect, Emily. Oh, I'm saying to you, Alexa. Sounds perfect, Alexa. Good luck with that, and follow up with us next week and let us know how that works out. Is there anything else you want to discuss? I talked pretty fast there today.
I think I'm good. Yeah, there's something else I really needed to discuss. Yeah.
All right. Well, we got this deal here. I put it up mid-call. I got to put it up again at the end. If you want 55% off, you can use our coupon code here, lifterlms.com/AMA-gift/AMA-gift. Today, it seemed like we had just a slew of people that were already using Lifter LMS. My hope is that this big number here with the eyeball on it on our streaming site, hopefully that big number is more curious people. If you have any questions, problems, concerns about using Lifter LMS or jumping out there and trying it, please know that we do have a $1 trial that lasts for 30 days. You can go to this link right here, lifterlms.com/try. It gives you a fully populated sample data kind of setup, just a whole website, a whole demo site. We host it for you. All of the Infinity tools are available for you in that demo site. And you can see what works for you, what doesn't work for you, but you don't have to figure it out because it's already built. And then anything that you like there or build there, you can export when you add it to your own website. So for example, if you built a sample course in it and you're like, well, I built that sample course, I don't want to lose it. You could just export it and then import it into your own website once you activate your own version of Lifter LMS. I think that kind of covers things. And it is the top of the hour. So I'm going to hit the magic video button there thing and turn this off. Here we go. Where the heck did it go? Leaves background, intro. I get lost in here all the time, Will.